Ever pause to wonder what truly defines an intelligent person? It isn't merely the accumulation of facts or the sharpness of wit. Rather, it's a delicate blend of wisdom, self-awareness, and thoughtful communication. In a world brimming with opinions, arguments, and noise, those who navigate conversations with poise and humility stand apart. Their mastery lies not in always being right, but in knowing what not to say, a subtle art rooted in ancient philosophical wisdom. This timeless principle is beautifully captured by the Stoics, philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, who understood that the way we speak shapes not only our relationships but also our inner character. Words, they believed, have the power to build bridges or burn them, to enlighten or to obscure, to foster growth or to hinder it. Choosing one's words with intention, therefore, is not just a skill, it's a virtue. Today, we'll explore 10 phrases that intelligent individuals consciously avoid, and more importantly, why they do so. By diving into these lessons drawn from Stoicism and ancient philosophy, you'll gain insights that can transform how you approach conversations, cultivate relationships, and strengthen your mindset. Whether you're engaging in a casual chat or a critical dialogue, mastering these principles can elevate not only the way you communicate but also the way you think. Stay with us, and by the end of this journey, you may find yourself embracing a deeper sense of wisdom, one that transcends clever words and reaches into the realm of genuine understanding. 1. I already know that. At first glance, the phrase "I already know that" may seem harmless, even confident. But in truth, it reveals something deeper, a mind closed to learning. To utter this phrase is to signal that we value the possession of knowledge more than the pursuit of wisdom, a critical distinction that the Stoics, particularly Epictetus, emphasized. He once taught that the greatest obstacle to learning is the illusion of already knowing. An intelligent person understands that genuine wisdom isn't about proving one's intellect. It's about cultivating an endless curiosity for new perspectives. When you say, "I already know that," you unknowingly shut down the opportunity for growth. Even if you're familiar with a concept, engaging with it through fresh eyes can deepen your understanding or reveal nuances you may have overlooked. Marcus Aurelius, known for his disciplined mind and humility, frequently reminded himself to approach life as a student. He urged himself to be strict with his own thoughts but tolerant toward others, fostering a mindset where respect for others' viewpoints takes precedence over self-assertion. A more thoughtful response might be, "That's an interesting take. How did you arrive at that?" This not only keeps the conversation flowing but also demonstrates a willingness to listen, a hallmark of intellectual humility. It's important to remember that every conversation holds the potential to teach us something new, no matter how familiar the topic may seem. By replacing "I already know that" with curiosity, we remain open to wisdom and foster deeper connections with those around us. In practice, this could be as simple as showing genuine interest when a colleague shares an idea you've encountered before. Instead of dismissing them, ask about their experience or their interpretation. This small shift in attitude can transform ordinary interactions into opportunities for insight and collaboration. As Seneca once wrote, "Every man I meet is my superior in some way, and in that, I learn from him." Let this serve as a reminder that true intelligence is not rigid. It is fluid, ever-evolving, and driven by the desire to grow. Next time you feel the urge to say, "I already know that," pause, take a breath, and invite the other person's perspective. By doing so, you not only demonstrate emotional intelligence, but also unlock the door to continuous personal development. 2. That's not my problem. Few phrases erect walls between people as quickly as "that's not my problem." On the surface, it may seem like a way to preserve your energy and avoid unnecessary burdens. However, to the Stoics, this phrase represents something far more damaging: the abandonment of our shared human responsibility. Marcus Aurelius famously reflected, "What injures the hive injures the bee." In other words, detaching ourselves from the struggles of others ultimately harms us as well, because we are all interconnected. True intelligence lies not in isolating oneself from the difficulties of others, but in recognizing when empathy can bridge a divide. This doesn't mean taking on every burden or attempting to solve every issue, but rather acknowledging that small acts of support can create profound ripples. When we respond with indifference, we miss the opportunity to strengthen bonds and cultivate an environment of trust. A simple gesture such as saying, "I hope things get better for you," or "Is there any way I can help?" can transform a moment of detachment into one of connection. Consider a workplace scenario where a colleague is struggling with a task outside your immediate responsibilities. Dismissing their difficulty by thinking, "That's not my problem," may save you time, but it erodes the spirit of collaboration. On the other hand, offering a brief word of encouragement or sharing a useful tip costs little yet fosters goodwill and cooperation. As Marcus Aurelius observed, "We were born to work together, like feet, hands, and eyes." Helping others, even in small ways, reinforces our own moral character while building a stronger community around us. This lesson extends beyond professional settings into personal relationships. When a friend shares a problem, dismissing it as "not my problem" weakens trust, while offering empathy, even if you cannot directly solve their issue, strengthens the bond. Seneca's timeless words remind us, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." Acts of compassion, no matter how small, enhance not only the lives of those we touch, but also our own, cultivating a mindset rooted in growth and wisdom. The next time you're tempted to say, "That's not my problem," pause and reflect. What if offering just a little support could create something greater? Intelligence, after all, isn't measured by how efficiently we avoid problems, but by how wisely we engage with others. In the end, life's greatest strength lies in our ability to lift one another, even when the burden isn't ours to bear. 3. I don't care. On the surface, "I don't care" seems like a harmless expression, a quick way to disengage from a topic you find uninteresting or irrelevant. Yet beneath this dismissive remark lies a deeper implication, one that signals apathy, indifference, and a failure to recognize the inherent value in every interaction. Stoic philosophy teaches us that even the smallest encounters hold meaning. As Seneca eloquently wrote, "We are waves of the same sea, leaves of the same tree, flowers of the same garden." Every conversation, no matter how trivial it may seem, is an opportunity to connect, understand, and grow. When you say "I don't care," you risk closing the door to potential insights and alienating the other person. The Stoics believe that wisdom is found not just in grand philosophical revelations, but also in everyday moments. Even if a topic doesn't immediately spark your interest, choosing to listen with curiosity rather than dismissiveness cultivates respect and strengthens relationships. After all, respect isn't about agreeing with everything. It's about acknowledging the inherent worth of another person's thoughts and experiences. A more thoughtful approach might be to respond with something like, "That's interesting. Could you tell me more?" Or "What led you to that idea?" This simple shift in language transforms a moment of potential disengagement into one of meaningful dialogue. By showing interest, even when it feels unnecessary, you demonstrate emotional intelligence and foster an environment where others feel heard and valued. Remember, it's not about pretending to care. It's about respecting the human connection in front of you. Imagine a friend eagerly sharing a new hobby or a colleague discussing weekend plans. Dismissing them with "I don't care" may save you a few moments of attention, but it leaves a lasting impression of indifference. On the contrary, showing a bit of curiosity can deepen your connection and potentially reveal something you hadn't considered before. As Marcus Aurelius advised, "Nature has given us one tongue but two ears, so that we may hear twice as much as we speak. Listening is not merely an act of politeness, it is an act of wisdom. Ultimately, replacing "I don't care" with genuine engagement allows us to approach life with a mindset of openness. Intelligence isn't marked by what we choose to dismiss, but by our willingness to explore and connect, even in moments that seem insignificant. So, the next time you find yourself tempted to say "I don't care," pause, take a breath, and remind yourself that every interaction, however small, holds the potential for understanding and growth. 4. It's not fair. Few things in life stir frustration as deeply as a perceived injustice. The instinct to declare it's not fair is a natural reaction, especially when faced with setbacks, betrayals, or unfulfilled expectations. Yet, to the Stoics, this phrase represents a mindset that weakens us rather than strengthens us. Life, they believed, was never meant to be fair in the way we often imagine. As Epictetus taught, it is not what happens to you that matters, but how you react to it. Complaining about unfairness may offer temporary relief, but it ultimately traps us in a cycle of victimhood, draining our energy and blinding us to possible solutions. An intelligent person understands that fairness is often beyond their control, but their response is entirely within their power. Instead of focusing on the injustice, they shift their attention toward what can be done. Asking questions like, "What can I learn from this?" or "How can I improve?" redirects the mind from helplessness to action. This approach not only builds resilience, but also fosters personal growth. Marcus Aurelius, a man who faced immense challenges as emperor, repeatedly reminded himself, "Accept whatever comes woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could be more fitting?" To him, embracing reality, however harsh, was the path to inner strength. Consider a scenario in which you are overlooked for a promotion you worked hard for. While it's tempting to dwell on the unfairness of the situation, doing so only prolongs your frustration and stunts your growth. Instead, a Stoic-minded approach would be to reflect on what's within your control, your work ethic, your attitude, and your willingness to adapt. This shift in mindset transforms a moment of perceived defeat into an opportunity for self-improvement. It's important to note that acknowledging life's unfairness doesn't mean passively accepting every misfortune. Rather, it's about understanding that lamenting the inequities of life is unproductive. True intelligence lies in embracing the challenge, seeking ways to move forward, and maintaining your integrity in the face of adversity. As Seneca wrote, "A setback often clears the way for greater prosperity. Many things have fallen only to rise to greater heights." Next time you're tempted to say, "It's not fair," take a moment to pause and reframe the situation. Ask yourself, "What is within my control?" and focus on that. Life will always present circumstances beyond our influence, but how we choose to respond defines who we are. In doing so, we transform moments of frustration into moments of power, and we take one step closer to embodying the Stoic ideal of inner strength and wisdom. 5. You're wrong. There's an undeniable satisfaction in pointing out someone else's mistake, especially when you believe your stance is correct. But while declaring you're wrong may feel gratifying in the moment, it rarely leads to a productive outcome. Instead, it erects barriers to understanding, creates defensiveness, and halts the flow of dialogue. The Stoics, known for their commitment to reason and intellectual humility, understood the value of respectful discourse. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth." This mindset underscores the essence of intelligence, not in proving others wrong, but in remaining open to new perspectives and fostering mutual learning. Saying you're wrong outright shifts the focus from understanding to confrontation. When someone hears these words, they are less likely to engage thoughtfully and more likely to defend their position, even if they privately doubt it. An intelligent person, guided by both wisdom and empathy, seeks not to dominate a conversation, but to advance it. A better alternative is to offer your viewpoint respectfully, saying something like, "I see where you're coming from, but may I share a different perspective?" This approach keeps the door open for dialogue, encourages reflection, and cultivates a spirit of cooperation. Imagine being in a debate with a friend or colleague. Directly telling them you're wrong may silence them or escalate tension. However, by acknowledging their perspective and presenting your own thoughtfully, you foster an atmosphere where both parties can learn from each other. Seneca noted that we suffer more often in imagination than in reality, a reminder that clinging to the need to be right can cause unnecessary conflict. The real goal should not be victory in argument, but growth in understanding. By replacing "you're wrong" with thoughtful engagement, you demonstrate not only intellectual humility but also emotional intelligence. This shift in approach strengthens relationships and opens the path to greater wisdom. Next time you're tempted to assert someone's wrongness, pause and ask yourself, is my goal to be right, or is my goal to understand? In choosing understanding over ego, you embody the Stoic principle of seeking truth through reason and dialogue. True intelligence lies not in always having the last word, but in creating space for thoughtful exchange. After all, as Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. The obstacle of disagreement, when handled with respect and humility, becomes a powerful catalyst for growth, both yours and theirs. 6. I can't do that. Few statements are as self-limiting as the phrase, "I can't do that." On the surface, it may appear to be a simple acknowledgement of one's current abilities, but beneath it lies a mindset that undercuts potential and stifles growth. To the Stoics, such a mindset was unacceptable. Seneca, one of the great Stoic thinkers, observed, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." In other words, obstacles are rarely insurmountable. The real challenge lies in our willingness to confront them. When you tell yourself, "I can't do that," you're not just describing a present limitation, you're solidifying it. Intelligent individuals recognize that ability is not static, but can be cultivated through effort, learning, and persistence. A more empowering response might be, "I haven't mastered that yet, but I'll figure it out." This shift in language doesn't merely change how you view the task at hand. It changes how you perceive your own capacity for growth. Consider a situation where you're faced with an unfamiliar challenge at work. Saying "I can't do that" may provide a temporary escape from discomfort, but it also closes the door to valuable learning. On the other hand, approaching the task with curiosity and a willingness to learn creates an opportunity for personal and professional development. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Challenges are not barriers. They are pathways to growth, if we choose to see them as such. It's important to understand that this isn't about blind optimism or ignoring genuine limitations. Rather, it's about cultivating a mindset that seeks solutions rather than surrendering to obstacles. When you replace "I can't" with "I'll find a way," you ignite a process of exploration and perseverance. Even if the initial attempt results in failure, you will have learned something valuable along the way, something that brings you closer to eventual success. The Stoic concept of amor fati, or love of fate, teaches us to embrace every experience, whether easy or difficult, as an opportunity for growth. By adopting this mindset, you turn the phrase "I can't do that" into "How can I approach this differently?" Over time, this shift not only transforms how you handle challenges, but also reshapes your understanding of your own potential. So, the next time you're tempted to say "I can't do that," pause and remind yourself that intelligence isn't defined by what you can't do. It's defined by your willingness to learn, adapt, and persevere. In doing so, you embody the Stoic ideal of resilience, turning every obstacle into an opportunity for progress. After all, as Seneca wisely noted, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. The more you prepare and dare, the more you expand the limits of what you thought possible. 7. That's impossible. Saying that's impossible may feel like a practical response when faced with daunting challenges, but in truth, it reflects a mindset constrained by fear and self-imposed limitations. To the Stoics, the word impossible was not a statement of fact, but an admission of unwillingness to explore the unknown. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, begin each day by telling yourself, I will encounter difficulties, but I am equipped to handle them. This was not blind optimism, but a deliberate act of preparing the mind for resilience. When you declare something impossible, you shut down not just the possibility of success, but also the creativity and courage required to find a way forward. Intelligent individuals, guided by a Stoic mindset, recognize that obstacles are often only perceived barriers. Rather than succumbing to doubt, they ask themselves, what can I do? How can I approach this differently? This shift in perspective not only preserves hope, but also fosters innovation. History is filled with examples of people who challenged what others believed to be impossible. From the earliest explorers venturing across uncharted seas to scientists who defied the limits of known technology, progress has always been driven by those willing to question the boundaries of possibility. Seneca captured this sentiment perfectly when he said, difficulties strengthen the mind as labor strengthens the body. Challenges, when met with determination, shape our intellect and character in ways that ease never could. Imagine a scenario in which you are presented with an ambitious project far outside your comfort zone. Saying that's impossible would allow you to retreat, but it would also deny you the opportunity to learn and grow. On the other hand, approaching it with the mindset of, this is difficult, but let's see what's possible opens the door to new insights and personal advancement. Even if the outcome isn't perfect, the process itself will enhance your abilities and broaden your perspective. The Stoic concept of premeditatio malorum, or premeditation of evils, teaches us to mentally prepare for difficulties in advance so that we can face them with composure when they arise. By acknowledging the inevitable presence of challenges and training ourselves to see them as opportunities rather than roadblocks, we cultivate a mindset that turns impossibility into a temporary state rather than a permanent verdict. The next time you're tempted to say that's impossible, pause and ask yourself whether the real limitation is external or internal. More often than not, it's our perception that needs to change. As Marcus Aurelius advised, what stands in the way becomes the way. The very thing you view as impossible could become the stepping stone to your greatest growth if you approach it with courage and curiosity. In this way, intelligence is not about avoiding difficulty. It's about finding a way through it. 8. That's just how it is. Few phrases are as subtly harmful to personal growth as, that's just how it is. On the surface, it may appear as a statement of acceptance, but in reality, it reflects resignation, a surrender to circumstances without any effort to question or change them. To the Stoics, this mindset was antithetical to wisdom. Epictetus observed, men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them. In other words, the world isn't defined by unchangeable facts, but by how we choose to perceive and respond to it. When you say, that's just how it is, you unknowingly reinforce a static worldview, where progress becomes impossible because change is never pursued. An intelligent person recognizes that while some aspects of life are beyond their control, many others are shaped by human effort and perspective. Instead of resigning to the status quo, they ask, what can be done differently? Or how can I improve this situation? This shift from passive acceptance to active inquiry is what drives innovation and personal evolution. Consider the countless breakthroughs throughout history, whether in science, philosophy, or society. that arose from individuals refusing to accept things as they were. If everyone simply said, "That's just how it is," humanity would have remained stagnant. Thomas Edison, after numerous failed attempts to create the light bulb, famously remarked, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." His refusal to accept failure as final ultimately transformed the world. Likewise, Marcus Aurelius continually reminded himself to see obstacles not as permanent but as pathways for growth. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This principle applies not only to grand inventions, but also to everyday challenges. Imagine being in a work environment where outdated practices hinder efficiency. Saying that's just how it is might preserve comfort in the short term, but it prevents progress. Instead, questioning the process and seeking improvement can lead to transformative change. Even if the initial effort doesn't yield immediate results, it sets in motion a mindset of continuous development. It's important to distinguish between accepting reality and resigning to it. Stoicism teaches us to accept what we cannot control, but it equally emphasizes our power to act where we can. Seneca urged us to live as active participants in life, not passive spectators. "Fate leads the willing and drags along the reluctant," he wrote. A reminder that those who engage with life's challenges are far more likely to shape their destiny than those who merely observe it. The next time you catch yourself thinking, "That's just how it is," pause and reconsider. Ask yourself, is this truly unchangeable, or am I simply avoiding the discomfort of change? By challenging this mindset, you create space for growth, creativity, and progress. In doing so, you embody the Stoic principle of living with purpose, actively shaping the world around you rather than passively accepting it. True intelligence isn't about passively accepting life's conditions. It's about constantly seeking ways to improve them. 9. You're lucky. At first glance, saying you're lucky might seem like a harmless compliment, even a form of admiration. However, to those who strive for excellence, it often feels dismissive, a reduction of their effort, perseverance, and discipline to mere chance. The Stoics had a different view of luck altogether. Seneca famously remarked, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." In other words, what we perceive as luck is often the visible result of unseen toil and relentless dedication. When you attribute someone's success to luck, you risk minimizing the hard work that went into achieving it. Intelligent individuals recognize that most accomplishments are not the product of random fortune, but the result of consistent effort, strategic thinking, and the ability to seize opportunities when they arise. Instead of saying, "You're lucky," a more thoughtful response might be, "You must have worked hard for that." This subtle shift not only acknowledges their effort, but also reinforces the value of persistence. Consider an athlete who has spent years honing their craft, enduring countless failures and setbacks, before finally achieving recognition. To say they're lucky overlooks the countless hours of practice and personal sacrifice that brought them to that moment. Similarly, in your own life, how many times has someone dismissed your success with a casual remark about luck, when in truth it was your preparation and perseverance that made the difference? The Stoics remind us that while chance may present opportunities, it is preparation that allows us to grasp them. This mindset applies not only to how we view others, but also to how we approach our own pursuits. Complaining about the luck of others can lead to a passive mindset, where we wait for fortune to favor us rather than actively working toward our goals. Instead, intelligent individuals cultivate a readiness for opportunity, knowing that true success comes not from waiting but from preparation. As Marcus Aurelius advised, dwell on the beauty of life, but remember that fortune favors those who act. The Stoics believed in creating one's own fortune through disciplined effort and a resilient mindset. Next time you find yourself tempted to say, "You're lucky," pause and reflect. Instead of attributing success to luck, consider the unseen dedication that likely led to it. Acknowledge the effort, appreciate the process, and let it inspire you to prepare for your own opportunities. In doing so, you not only respect the journey of others, but also align yourself with the Stoic principle that success is earned, not given. True intelligence, after all, lies not in waiting for luck, but in preparing for the moment when opportunity arises. 10. I'm not good at that. The phrase "I'm not good at that" may sound like a harmless admission of one's limitations, but in reality, it reflects a fixed mindset, one that halts progress before it even begins. The Stoics, who believed deeply in the power of continuous self-improvement, would challenge this defeatist attitude. As Seneca wisely noted, every new beginning comes from the end of some other beginning. Intelligence isn't defined by innate talent, but by a willingness to learn, grow, and evolve through effort and persistence. When you say, "I'm not good at that," you unconsciously set a boundary around your potential. Intelligent individuals, however, understand that skills are rarely innate. They are developed over time through deliberate practice. A better alternative is to say, "I'm still learning," or "I'd like to improve in that area." This simple shift in language transforms a self-imposed limitation into an opportunity for growth. It fosters a mindset that values progress over perfection, a hallmark of true wisdom. Consider the early stages of learning any new skill. Whether it's playing a musical instrument, mastering a language, or navigating a new professional role, no one starts out as an expert. Growth requires time, effort, and patience. Marcus Aurelius, ever mindful of the challenges of self-mastery, reminded himself, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." The very act of confronting what you're not good at is what propels you forward, turning obstacles into stepping stones. In practice, this means embracing discomfort and uncertainty as part of the learning process. Rather than avoiding tasks that seem beyond your current abilities, approach them with curiosity and perseverance. The Stoic concept of prohairesis, or the ability to choose your response to external events, teaches us that while we may not control our initial level of skill, we always control how we respond to the challenge of improving it. By reframing "I'm not good at that" into "I'm working on getting better," you cultivate a mindset of resilience and adaptability. This attitude not only enhances your own growth, but also inspires those around you to adopt a similar approach to challenges. In the Stoic tradition, intelligence is not about where you begin. It's about where you're willing to go. So the next time you find yourself thinking, "I'm not good at that," pause and remind yourself that every skill begins with a first step. Embrace the process of learning, however slow or difficult it may be. As Seneca wrote, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." True intelligence isn't the absence of limitations. It's the courage to push beyond them, knowing that each effort brings you closer to mastery. In doing so, you embody the Stoic ideal of lifelong growth and continuous self-improvement. Conclusion. In the end, intelligence isn't measured by how much we know or how often we're right. It's measured by our willingness to remain open, humble, and constantly evolving. The Stoics understood that true wisdom lies not in rigid certainty, but in embracing life's complexities with grace and curiosity. Each phrase we've explored today represents more than just words. It represents a mindset. By consciously choosing to replace limiting language with thoughtful alternatives, we unlock the potential for deeper growth, stronger connections, and a more meaningful life. Stoicism isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about approaching each day with the resolve to learn, improve, and act with integrity, even when the path isn't easy. As Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. The same applies to us. Rather than merely thinking about becoming wiser or more resilient, we should start living it through the small, daily choices we make, including the words we choose to speak. If these ideas resonate with you, remember that this journey doesn't end here. There is always more to explore, more to learn, and more to apply. By subscribing to our channel, you'll join a community of like-minded individuals seeking not just knowledge, but transformation. Those who, like the Stoics, strive to live with purpose, courage, and wisdom. Together, we'll continue to delve into ancient philosophy, personal development, and timeless lessons that can enrich our modern lives. So, if you haven't already, take a moment to hit that subscribe button, and let's walk this path of self-improvement and inner strength together. And as Marcus Aurelius beautifully said, dwell on the beauty of life. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep seeking the wisdom that will guide you toward becoming the best version of yourself. Until next time, stay wise, stay resilient, and never stop striving for a life of virtue.